AITA for stopping my daughter's wedding after she handed me a hidden note at the altar? My name is Thomas. I'm 46 years old, a father, and the owner of a small bakery I built with my own two hands. It's not famous, but people in the neighborhood know me. I'm the guy who wakes up at 4:30 a.m., fires up the oven, checks the order list, and wrestles with the piping bag as if it were a sport. I have a daughter, Claire, who is 23. She's my pride and joy, the best thing in my life. And I also have a ranch. It's not a movie-style ranch. It's a property I inherited from my dad. A few acres, an old house, an empty corral, and land that the family always saw as our salvation for when things get tough. I use it to go breathe, mend fences, plant a few things, and remember my old man. That's why when Claire's fiancé, Derek, started asking a lot of questions about the ranch, I just took it as curiosity. At first, the questions were normal. How far is it from town? Does it have well water? What year was the house built? Fine. But then they got strange. One afternoon in my bakery, with the smell of vanilla stuck to the walls and the counter covered in crumbs, Derek dropped one on me. Mr. Thomas, the deed is in your name, right? I kept slicing a sponge cake as if nothing happened. Yes, it's in my name. He gave a nervous-looking smile and shrugged. Oh, it's nothing. It's just that, you never know. It's good to have everything in order. I thought, well, he's responsible. Then, another time at a family dinner, while Claire was excitedly talking about her dress and my aunt was asking if the catering would be fancy, Derek brought it up again. And the ranch can be subdivided, for the future, if there are kids. Claire kicked him under the table. I saw it. He pretended not to notice. Derek, she said, with that don't you start tone. It's not a topic for now. I tried to lighten the mood. Easy, there's a long way to go for that, and land doesn't get divided like a pizza. Derek laughed, but it was a short laugh, the kind that doesn't reach the eyes. That night, while washing dishes, I kept thinking about it. I didn't like it, but I also told myself, Thomas, don't be paranoid. He's the fiancé, he's nervous, he wants to impress. I wanted everything to go well. I wanted to see my daughter happy. For once, I just wanted life not to hand me a new problem. Spoiler alert, life laughed in my face. On the wedding day, I was in the event hall. I was in a suit and tie, the collar choking me as if it hated me. The air smelled of expensive perfume, hairspray, fresh flowers, and nerves. Claire looked beautiful, truly. She looked calm, but I know my daughter. Her hands were trembling slightly when she took my arm before we walked in. Are you okay? I whispered. Yes, Dad, she said, and it came out too fast. Yes. Derek was at the altar with his everything is perfect smile. His mother, Patricia, sat in the front row in a dress that screamed, I want to be the star of the show. And with that up and down gaze that scans you like you're a piece of furniture. I took a deep breath. This is her day, not mine. The music, everyone standing. The photographer running around as if filming a war. We reached the altar. The officiant began to speak of love, of commitment, of a shared life. I was barely listening, just watching my daughter's face, trying to read it. And just as they were about to say, I do, Claire clutched her bouquet. Derek adjusted it for her in what looked like a romantic gesture, and that's when it happened. Claire reached her hand between the flowers as if looking for something. Her fingers trembled. She pulled out a small, folded piece of paper, like a note from high school. She passed it to me without anyone seeing, stuck to the bouquet. I opened it. It said, Dad, help me. I felt my world go dark. It wasn't sadness at first. It was like a cold punch to the stomach. I looked at my daughter. She wasn't looking at me. She was staring at the floor as if she couldn't allow herself to breathe. Derek was still smiling, waiting for the I do. And I stood up. The hall was silent. That strange ceremony silence, where everyone feels like they're inside a bubble. I burst the bubble. One moment, I said loudly. The officiant blinked. Sir, what? I didn't even know what I was going to say. I just knew my daughter was asking me for help. And Claire never asks for help unless it's serious. Derek looked at me, confused, and I saw a shadow cross his face, a microsecond of pure anger that escaped him. Mr. Thomas, he began, his voice smooth and fake. I held up the note. My daughter just gave me this. Claire swallowed hard. Patricia, Derek's mother, sat up straight as if she'd been stung. What kind of spectacle is this? She said quietly, but it was heard all the same. I looked at Claire. Honey, are you okay? Do you want to get married? And then I saw her eyes fill with tears. Not tears of emotion, but the tears of someone who was trapped. Claire whispered, Dad. That was all she said, but it was enough. I looked at the officiant. Stop the ceremony. I heard murmurs, people shifting, chairs squeaking. Derek took a quick step toward me. No, no, no. Thomas, we can sort this out later. I stopped him with a hand on his chest. Not violently, just firmly. It doesn't get sorted out later. It gets sorted out now. Claire grabbed my arm tightly, as if I were the only solid ground, and that's when the real disaster began. To understand why a simple note made my head explode, you have to understand something. I'm not a man who makes drama. I'm the type to swallow it and move on. When Claire was little, her mother and I separated. It wasn't a fight with flying plates. It was attrition, work, bills, silences. We ended up on good terms, but the reality was that Claire always had me as the stable one. I was the one who paid for things without question. School uniforms, the dentist, her cell phone, college, even her first used car, the one that smelled like mildew and had a radio that only picked up one station. And I don't say this to get a round of applause. I say it because that's how my mind works. If I can, I do. The bakery cost me years. There were months of selling cakes on credit, of getting little sleep, of flour in my hair. There was one year I almost closed. A contract with a large coffee shop saved me, along with the fact that I'm stubborn. The ranch is another story. My dad left it in my name with a phrase that still weighs on me. Don't sell the land in a hurry, Thomas. The land waits for you. I didn't sell it. I maintained it with just enough. Sometimes it felt like a bottomless pit. Pump repairs, taxes, new wire. But it was my old man's, it was my anchor. And that's where Derek came in. Claire met him in college. He was studying business administration. He was from the city, spoke well, and dressed nicely. He had that self-assurance that seems like magic when you're 22. The first time I met him, he seemed decent. He brought wine. He called me Mr. Thomas respectfully. He told me, Claire talks about you so much. I felt proud. I ate it all up. Then the little things started. Derek always found a way to steer the conversation to serious matters. Do you have an accountant? How do you manage the bakery's cash flow? And the ranch, does it have any easements? Is the title clear? I'd look at him, thinking, what kind of 24-year-old talks like this? But he always said it with a smile, as if it were a game. Once, in my office behind the shop, with the day's cash box open and my phone buzzing with orders, Derek said to me, it's just that I want to take care of Claire, and to take care of someone, you have to plan. You understand, right? I nodded. Because what was I going to say? Don't plan. Then Patricia appeared. Patricia was one of those women who doesn't speak, she dictates. At the engagement dinner, she looked at the house, the table, everything. Nice. Simple, she said, as if she were evaluating a hotel. Then she looked directly at me. Derek told me you have a ranch. Yes, I said. It's a family property. Patricia smiled, but it was that interesting kind of smile. Ah, how nice. Land always appreciates. It's a safe investment. Claire tensed up. I noticed. Then Patricia started with comments like, when they have children, they'll need space. City life is expensive. A ranch is a blessing if you know how to leverage it. I tried not to engage. In those months of wedding planning, I paid for a lot of things because Claire didn't have much savings and I wanted to help. The venue, part of the catering, the music, and I did it happily. But suddenly, the requests started to increase. Derek began insisting on legal matters. It's normal to have a prenuptial agreement, he told me one afternoon. A pre-what? I asked. A prenup, so everything is clear. For the good of both of them. I looked at him. Claire isn't a gold digger, and neither should you be. Derek laughed quickly. No, of course not. It's just for the sake of order. Claire sent me a text that night. Dad, don't pay any attention to him. He's obsessed with controlling everything. I replied, as long as he treats you well, the rest can be discussed. Big mistake. A couple of weeks later, I got a call from an unknown number. Hello, am I speaking with Thomas Miller? A formal woman's voice asked. Yes. I'm calling from the title company's notary public office. We had an appointment scheduled for you to review the ranch deed. I froze. What appointment? I didn't schedule anything. Silence. It's in your name, and there's a request for a title report and copies on file, she said. A third party came in with your information. I felt my pulse in my throat. Who? I asked. I can't give names over the phone, sir, but I recommend you come in person with your ID. I hung up. I stared at the spilled sugar on the floor as if it were snow. I'm not a paranoid man, but I'm not a fool either. That night, I called Claire. Honey, do you know anything about a notary's office requesting papers for the ranch? There was a strange silence, the kind that says more than words. Dad, she said. No, I don't. But her voice was breaking, and I heard it. Claire, tell me the truth. She took a deep breath. Derek asked some questions. He said it was for some paperwork, that it would make things easier with the bank later. But I didn't sign anything. Dad, I swear. My head started putting together an ugly puzzle. The bank. I asked. I don't know. He says he wants to invest, buy a commercial space, expand, and that with a property as collateral, everything is easier. I gripped the phone. And why my ranch? Her voice faded. Because. He says you're getting older and that it'll be mine one day anyway. And that if we're family, there's no difference. My face burned. That's not normal, honey. I know, she whispered. But every time I say something, he gets angry, and his mom does too. They tell me I'm immature, that you put ideas in my head. I wanted to get in the car and pull her out of there right then, but Claire begged me. Dad, please, don't make a scene. The wedding is so close. Just don't sign anything, and that's it. I promised. And that's when the pressure campaign began. Derek started stopping by the bakery casually. Mr. Thomas, did you get an email from the bank? Mr. Thomas, have you requested a copy of the deed yet? Mr. Thomas, look at this business plan with a loan in 6 months. And every time I said no, Derek would laugh as if it were a joke. You're old school, but these days, you grow with leverage. I thought, are you trying to sell me a course? Patricia also applied pressure. At a lunch, in front of everyone, she said, Thomas, once they're married, you two should put the property in both of their names. It's only fair. Derek will be the man of the house. I nearly choked on my bread. I'm the man of the house when I'm paying for the venue and the catering, I said without thinking. Claire turned red. Derek clenched his jaw. Patricia smiled as if I had confirmed something. Ah, so there is money, she said calmly. Perfect. I should have cut everything off right there, but I was still in I want my daughter to be happy mode. Until the month of the wedding, Claire started to look dim. Dark circles under her eyes, a fake smile, short text messages. One night she came to my house for a hair trial and locked herself in the bathroom. I heard her crying softly. I knocked on the door. Claire, what's wrong? Silence. Nothing, Dad. A lie. That same week, Derek asked to speak with me alone. On my kitchen table, he placed a folder. I want you to see this. It's a proposal for a family agreement, nothing crazy, just so everyone is protected. I opened the folder. I saw words like transfer, collateral, and family trust. I looked up. Are you asking me to sign this? Not now, he said quickly. Just to consider it. It's for Claire, for the future. I closed the folder. No. Derek's face changed. The smile vanished. Mr. Thomas, you don't understand. This is what smart families do. I stared at him. Smart families don't pressure a father with strange papers. Derek stood up, knocked his leg against the chair, and left without saying goodbye. That night Claire called me, crying. Dad, I'm sorry what happened. He yelled at me, she said. He told me that because of you, I ruined his plan and that if you don't support him, he doesn't want you at the wedding. I was silent. That's what he told you. Yes. And his mom. His mom said you're selfish, that you don't want to see your daughter happily married. I felt something dark rise inside me. Claire, that's not true, is it? She cried harder. I know, but I'm trapped, Dad. Everything is paid for. Everyone is coming. I can't cancel. I'm embarrassed. I'm scared. Scared. That word sent a chill down my spine. I told her what I thought was right. Honey, if you don't want to do this, then don't. Not because of embarrassment. And she just said, I wish it were that easy, and hung up. Then came the wedding day and the note. When I said one moment at the altar, my body was running on autopilot. It wasn't bravery, it was instinct. Derek approached, his voice harder now. Thomas, don't do this. You're in front of everyone. I breathed through my nose. Exactly. In front of everyone. Patricia stood up from her seat, as if she were about to enter a boxing ring. What a lack of respect, she said. You're sabotaging my son's day. I didn't look at her. I only looked at Claire. Honey, do you want to get out of here with me right now? Claire looked at me for the first time. Her face was pale, her lips were trembling, and she nodded. It wasn't a grand gesture, not dramatic at all, just a tiny movement, as if she could barely allow herself to say yes to her own safety. I held out my hand to her. Derek stepped between us. No, this isn't necessary. Claire is just nervous, that's all. Claire squeezed my hand and said, very quietly, Derek. No. That's when his mask fell off. For a second. What do you mean, no? He spat out quickly, then tried to switch back to his smooth tone. Sweetheart, you're making a scene. I took a step forward. Don't talk to her like that. The officiant was frozen. The photographer didn't know whether to take a picture or pray. People were murmuring. I could feel their eyes on the back of my neck, but I didn't care. Let's go, I said to Claire. Now. Claire started to walk with me. Derek grabbed her arm. Claire, he said, you're not leaving. And that's when my brain clicked. I grabbed his wrist, not hard, but firm enough for him to let go. Don't touch her. Derek looked at me with hatred. You'll pay for this, he whispered. Patricia took 2 steps forward and yelled, Security. Get him out of here. The venue's security, 2 young guys in black suits with I just work here faces, approached uncertainly. I held up a hand. Don't get involved. This is my daughter. Patricia pointed a finger at Claire. She's a spoiled child, and you're manipulating her. That ranch has rotted your brain. Hearing ranch in the middle of the altar was like seeing the monster in the light. I looked at Patricia. Oh, so that's what this is about. Derek tried to smile for the crowd, as if he could fix it with charisma. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry for this misunderstanding. Thomas is just being emotional. I laughed. A short laugh. It's not a misunderstanding. It's a trap. Silence. Claire was trembling. I put my arm around her shoulders. Let's go to the bride's room. The event planner opened a side door for us. We entered a room with a large mirror, bright white lights, makeup scattered on a table, a box of tissues, and a glass of water. Claire collapsed. Dad, I'm so sorry. I held her face in my hands. Don't you apologize to me. Tell me what happened. She was breathing as if she couldn't get enough air. Derek told me that if I didn't marry him, he'd ruin me. That he's already talked to people. That he has papers. I felt a void open up. What papers? Claire took out her phone with shaky hands. She had messages, audio clips. She showed me one from Derek from 3 days ago. Claire, everything is already in motion. Your dad just has to sign the transfer, and that's it. If he makes it difficult, we'll pressure him. Don't be so dramatic. I read another. Tell him it's for your own good. Tell him that if he loves us, he'll do it. Don't make me look bad in front of my mom. Claire showed me an audio clip from Patricia. Listen, Claire, in this family, we do things seriously. The ranch land must be transferred to you both. That's how you secure the future. If your father doesn't understand that, it's because he's selfish, and selfish people end up alone. Claire was sobbing. I tried to say no, but it just got worse each time. They said if I canceled the wedding, they would tell everyone that I was unstable, that you control me, that my mom abandoned me, and that's why I don't know, difficult. It broke my heart. They threatened to humiliate you? I asked. Claire nodded. And Dad, she swallowed. Derek asked me to take a picture of your ID for the hotel reservation, and I sent it to him. I'm sorry. I felt rage, but not at her. At him. It's okay. You were manipulated. Claire continued. And yesterday, he asked me to get you to sign a paper after the wedding. He said it was to finalize some paperwork and that if you didn't, he would leave, and I'd be left looking like a fool. I stood perfectly still. I thought about the call from the notary's office, the folder, the questions. It all fit. There was a knock on the door. Claire, came Derek's voice from outside. Sweetheart, come out. This has gone far enough. Claire flinched. I went to the door and opened it a crack. Derek was standing there, his tie crooked and his smile stripped of its shine. Thomas, let's talk like men, he said. I looked him up and down. You're not a man. You're a con artist in a suit. Derek gritted his teeth. Lower your voice. There are people out there. Exactly, I said. There are people. And my daughter is crying. Derek tried to push his way in. I shut the door in his face. Claire grabbed my arm. Dad, I'm scared. If we leave him, we're going to do something. I took a breath. I forced myself to think. Look at me. You're with me. Yes, Claire nodded. I took out my phone and called my lawyer, one I know from business matters. He answered on the second ring. Thomas, what's wrong? I'm at my daughter's wedding. There's an attempt to commit fraud with my property. I need you to tell me what to do right now. I won't recount the whole call, but he told me something very simple. Don't sign anything. Keep all your documents. And if there are any threats or attempts to use your information, file a police report. A police report. That was a big step, but at that moment, I was done playing games. We left the room and returned to the main hall. The guests were in a state of soft chaos, the kind of chaos where no one is sure if this is part of the show. Patricia was hysterically talking to the wedding planner. Give me my money back for the venue. This is a disgrace. Derek stood near the altar as if he could still regain control. When he saw us, he went straight for Claire. Sweetheart, that's enough. Let's finish this. Claire pressed herself against me. No, Derek. He smiled, but you could see the vein in his neck throbbing. Claire, don't do this to me. I swear your dad will understand. I stepped forward. He won't understand because there's nothing to understand. You want my ranch. Silence. Derek's eyes widened. What? No, that's ridiculous. Patricia shrieked from behind. Don't put those ideas in her head. This is a family matter. I turned to Patricia. A family matter doesn't mean it's your family's matter. I took out my phone and held up the screen. I had the call log from the notary's office. I had screenshots of the messages Claire had shown me. I'd forwarded them to myself. And I had the folder Derek left at my house. I'd brought it in my car because something told me I was going to need it. Yes, I went to the wedding with a folder under my seat because deep down, I already smelled it. I just didn't want to believe it. Here it is, I said, holding up the folder. A family agreement that includes a transfer of the property and mentions my ranch as collateral. What is this, Derek? A declaration of love. Derek swallowed. That's for the future. To help you guys out. To give Claire security. Claire, her voice broken, said, Security? You yelled at me yesterday. You told me that if you couldn't get my dad's signature, I was useless. A collective gasp went through the crowd. A communal what? Patricia tried to take control. Claire is nervous. She doesn't know what she's saying. I looked at the crowd, my daughter's friends, my relatives, my employees. Claire's mom, my ex-wife, was in the back with a look of shock. I took a breath and spoke loudly. I want everyone to hear this. I will not allow my daughter to be pressured into marriage, nor will I allow my property to be used. If this continues, I am calling the police right now. Derek held up his hands, as if to say, calm down, no need to go that far. Thomas, you're overreacting. And that's when Claire took the bouquet, clutched it, and said what I never thought I'd hear her say. I don't want to marry you. Total silence. Derek stood frozen, as if the floor had been pulled out from under him. Patricia let out a scream. What? Claire, trembling, kept going. I don't want to marry you because you manipulated me. Because your mother treated me like an object. Because this whole thing was, she looked at the folder, was about the ranch. Derek tried to approach her. Claire, don't say that. I stepped in his way. Don't get near her. Patricia lost her composure, marched up to me, and pointed a finger inches from my face. You're ruining her life. Do you know how much a wedding costs? Do you know how much was invested? My son deserves a serious woman. I didn't yell. I just said slowly, my daughter deserves to be safe. I don't care about the rest. Derek exploded. His tone changed, the mask completely gone. Then pay for what's left, he spat. Because this isn't over. I already have everything set up. That ranch was going to be our starting point. There it was. He'd said it. People's jaws dropped. One of Claire's friends said aloud, what is going on? I felt fire inside me, but I held on. Thank you for saying that in front of everyone, I said. You saved me some work. I'm calling the police. Patricia turned pale. Don't be ridiculous, she said, but she sounded less confident now. Derek grabbed his mother's arm. Let's go, he said quickly, but before he left, he looked at me with pure hatred. You're going to regret this, Thomas. I stared right back at him. I'd regret it if I let her marry you. Derek left. Patricia left. And they left behind a broken wedding and a daughter who was crying, but free. Claire clung to my jacket like she did when she was a little girl and got lost in the supermarket. Dad, she said, thank you. I kissed the top of her head. Always. The first thing that happened afterward was the domino effect of everyone reacting. The planner told me, Mr. Thomas, we need to talk about the venue contract. I held her off. Then, my ex-wife Monica approached Claire, her face filled with pain. Why didn't you tell me? She asked. Claire just cried. I focused on what was important, getting my daughter out of there. We went to my house. I made her tea. She didn't eat. She just sat on the couch in her wedding dress, staring at a fixed point. I sat across from her. Honey, we'll take this one step at a time. You're not alone. Do you understand me? Claire nodded. That night, she showed me more things. Messages where Derek was talking with someone named Uncle Raymond about notaries and power of attorney. A PDF file with a document that had my name misspelled, but my correct address. A screenshot where Derek told her, after the wedding, your dad signs. If not, we'll make him look like the bad guy. Everything is already set up anyway. Everything is already set up. I didn't sleep that night. Not at all. The next day, I went to the notary public's office with my ID. A serious woman attended to me, looking at me with another one of these cases expression. She showed me the record. Someone had requested copies of the deed with my information. They weren't given out because an in-person signature was required. That's why they had called me. Who was it? I asked. She gave me the name. I won't put it here, but it was someone connected to Derek's family. I left there with my jaw clenched. Then I went to the bank. I set up fraud alerts, changed passwords, blocked any strange transactions, and requested that nothing be approved without my physical presence. I did everything they told me to do. I felt like an old man learning to use a new app. I also went to the police station. When I said, I'm here to report an attempt at fraud, the officer raised an eyebrow as if I were the crazy one. I showed him the messages, the audio clips, the PDF. His expression changed. Okay, he said. This is serious. I filed the report. Claire gave her statement too. And then the second part of hell began, the messages. Derek texted me from a different number. Thomas, this is all a misunderstanding. Let's talk. Don't ruin Claire's life. Patricia is sick over this. If you want to fix it, just sign what you need to sign. I didn't respond. Patricia also wrote to Monica, to me, to Claire's aunt, to anyone who would listen. Thomas is a manipulator. Claire is unstable. They stole the wedding from us. I demand compensation. I'm going to the media. Yes, she said that, as if they were famous. Claire locked herself in her room for 2 days. I left food outside her door as if she were a frightened cat. On the third day, she came out in her pajamas, her face swollen, and said, Dad, I'm so embarrassed. I sat down with her. Fraud is embarrassing. Pressuring someone to get married is embarrassing. You did the right thing. Claire pressed her lips together. But everyone saw. They saw you save yourself, I told her. Then came the issue of money. Yes, we lost money. Not all of it, but a good amount. The venue kept a portion, the caterer another. The dress couldn't be returned. The photographer charged us anyway. Claire felt guilty. I ruined everything. And on top of that, you spent so much. I cut her off. No, I spent money on your happiness, and today I spent it on your safety. That's not up for debate. A week later, Derek showed up at my bakery. I was decorating a birthday cake, my hands full of frosting, when I saw his reflection in the glass. He walked up to the counter as if nothing had happened. Thomas, he said quietly, we need to talk. My employees froze. The shop was full. People waiting for their croissants watched the scene like it was a live TV show. I slowly wiped my hands on a cloth. I approached him. There's nothing to talk about. Derek clenched his jaw. You're exaggerating. Claire loves me. She's just confused. If you'd stay out of it, I interrupted him. Don't say her name like she belongs to you. Derek leaned toward me. If we don't fix this, you're going to pay a much higher price. Because I invested in that wedding. I looked at him, tired. Did you invest in my daughter or in my ranch? Derek blinked. A second of silence. That's when I knew there was no love, only a plan. I told him, I'm asking you to leave and not come back. Derek smiled, but it was an ugly smile. You think you're so smart, but that ranch will be Claire's one day anyway. And Claire will be mine. My hands balled into fists, but I didn't hit him. I didn't scream. I just did something more powerful. I called out, Gabe. Gabe is my neighbor, a huge guy who sometimes helps me with the oven. He came out from the back like he was a nightclub bouncer. Everything okay, Thomas? I pointed at Derek. This gentleman is leaving now. Derek looked around, saw people staring, phones raised. He got the message. He left. When Claire found out, she turned white. What did he say? She asked. I told her only what was necessary. She covered her mouth and cried. Dad, I had no idea he was like that. I know, I said. That's why I got you out of there. In time, Claire started therapy. I probably should have gone too, but I'm one of those people who believes work gets you through things. Still, seeing her in therapy gave me peace. Legally, the case wasn't resolved quickly. There were back and forths, legal notices, and paperwork. Derek tried another move, sending a letter from a lawyer claiming I owed him money for damages. It was ridiculous. My lawyer laughed. Let him try. He did. It didn't get far. Meanwhile, I made an important decision to protect Claire without putting her back in a cage. I did something simple. I put the ranch into a trust. This legal structure ensures that if Claire ever inherits it, it will be with clear conditions, so no one can touch it through marriage or pressure. It would be hers, yes, but safe. When I told her, Claire gave me a strange look. You don't trust me. I took her hand. I trust you. I don't trust the ones who show up with a smile and a plan. Claire nodded sadly, but she understood. Little by little, she came back to life. She went back to college, started laughing with her friends again, and started eating again. One day, she came into the bakery and said, Dad, I want to learn how to make the sponge cake like you do. I looked at her. That sentence was like seeing the light return. Whenever you want, I told her. And I knew then that even though we lost a wedding, we gained something much more important, my daughter's freedom. Today, months later, I can say this without a lump forming in my throat. That note in the bouquet saved her life. Not because Derek was going to cause her physical harm or anything like that, but because it showed me something I didn't want to see. That sometimes, people get close to your family not for love, but for what they can get out of it. And as a father, I had only one real obligation, to listen to my daughter when she asks for help. I learned a few simple things, without any fancy phrases. If someone asks too many questions about your property, it's not curiosity, it's interest. Love isn't proven with signatures. Shame lasts for a little while. A bad marriage can last a lifetime. Boundaries aren't cruelty, they're protection. A lot of people told me afterward, Thomas, you were so brave. No, I was scared to death, but I did what I had to do. I also heard ugly comments. How dramatic, he ruined the wedding. That could have been handled in private. No, because private is where the dirtiest things happen. Private is where they pressure you, where they threaten you, where they make you doubt yourself. In public, at least, there are witnesses. There is light. One day, Claire was sitting with me at the ranch, watching me fix an old fence. Dad, she said, I thought love was about enduring things. I put down the wire and wiped my hands. No, sweetie, that's not love. That's survival. She swallowed. I was afraid of being alone. I told her the truth. Being alone for a while is better than being with someone who wants to use you. Claire was quiet, and then, for the first time since the disaster, she gave a real smile. Thanks for getting me off the altar, she said, as if it were a joke. I laughed. It wasn't elegant. It was perfect, she said, and that was my closure. Because I don't need a wedding to feel like I did my job as a father. I need to see my daughter at peace. Derek disappeared over time. Sometimes rumors pop up that he's involved in some shady ventures. I don't care. What's important is that he's far away. I'm still in my bakery. I still get up early. I still fight with the piping bag. And now, whenever someone asks me about the ranch, I don't just smile politely. Now, I listen carefully. Because I learned late, but I learned. Being a good father isn't about saying yes to everything. It's about knowing when to say no, even if the whole world is watching. My daughter asked for help, and I chose her. I will always choose her. Comment. I hope this story leaves you with a sense of strength. Sometimes, the quietest voice inside you is the one you need to listen to most. Setting boundaries is not an act of aggression, but an act of self-respect. Never let the fear of a difficult moment cost you your long-term peace. True kindness often means being brave enough to protect yourself from harm. You have the right to choose what your future looks like, free from outside pressure. The path to healing begins the moment you decide you deserve better. Remember that your value is not tied to anyone else's plans for you. Always choose the people and the path that bring you genuine peace. You are completely worthy of that. If you like the stories, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.